Welcome to Beyond the Velvet Rope with Neil Oates Jr., the podcast that takes you on an extraordinary journey into the world of luxury service. Join us as we unlock the secrets, stories, and strategies behind exceptional experiences. From anticipating VIP needs to crafting unforgettable memories, we'll guide you on a path to service excellence in the realm of the affluent. Let's elevate your expertise and redefine the art of world-renowned service. Here's your host, Neil Oates Jr.
Welcome to the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. My guest today is Jeffrey E. Hill, a Florida realtor who serves homeowners, buyers, and investors across Central Florida. What makes Jeff especially interesting is that his perspective was shaped long before real estate. With a background in the building trades, construction, and home improvement, he brings a practical eye for quality, value, and potential that many agents simply do not have. Jeff is known for honest communication, dependable service, and a client-first approach that is built on relationships and trust. Jeff is not just helping people buy or sell properties. He is helping them make sound decisions with confidence. Beyond business, Jeff enjoys golfing, scuba diving, the Florida outdoors, family life, and has a memorable personal detail you will not forget, a pet pig named Misty. This conversation gives us a look at the man behind the business, his mindset, his values, and the experiences that shape how he shows up for the people he serves. Jeffrey E. Hill, welcome Beyond the Velvet Rope, sir.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here. Thank you for having me, Neil.
Man, Jeff, so we're going to jump right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, Jeff did not have time to prepare. I scheduled Jeff. I'm like, hey, I want you on Beyond the Velvet Rope. I know you have value to add. So I read some of the stuff about you, but what I really want to know, Jeff, is who is Jeffrey E. Hill, sir?
Just your regular guy and orchestrating real estate to the best of my knowledge.
Okay, so you just mentioned orchestrating real estate to the best of your knowledge, but before real estate, you spent years in the building trades and construction world. And so I just want to know, how did that background shape the way you see homes and how you serve clients today, Jeff?
I think it gives me an upper hand compared to some other potential realtors. When I walk into a house, I don't just look at the four walls that surround us. I dive deeper, looking at potential defects, potential issues that might arise before we even get to a home inspection process. I put the building trades hat on as well as the real estate hat when I'm looking at a home with customers.
Okay, so I know you're living in Central Florida, but where were you born and raised, Jeff?
I was born and raised in Indianapolis, Indiana, and I am a Hoosier. Grew up in Indiana area.
Okay, so I am here in Fort Lauderdale, South Florida. So Jeff and I have a personal relationship. We're friends. And if you all are not aware, there was something that happened earlier this year when the Hoosiers played the Hurricanes. And so a very close friend of mine, Mr. Ben Finley, he is also a Hoosier. And so you were much more graceful with the victory than Ben was. So I don't think you ever brought it up. So I want to say thank you for being a kind friend and a great Hoosier fan, sir.
You're very welcome. It was hard to hold back because both my parents graduated from IU.
Okay, so let's talk about that, right? Because I know I was impacted by my parents heavily, right? And I know that's not everyone's positive history, right? What was it like growing up in the Hill household, sir?
My parents were good parents. They were good parents. Always involved and had me involved with sports, had me in activities. Just was an all-around good experience growing up.
Now, hold on, Jeff. You can't just say had you involved in sports and leave it there. You've got to tell me what sport, were you an athlete, and are you an athlete?
Yes, I would say that I'm an amateur athlete, but I would like to be athletic. Played some tennis, played some golf, was in swimming, in swim team for quite a few years, which I think that's where I got really got the love for diving. I've always loved the water. Was lucky enough to live in a subdivision in Texas when I was younger that there was a community pool, and we held swim meets there quite often.
So hold on. So swim team, was this in Texas or in Indianapolis?
This was in Texas. So
okay, because I was about to say, I said, man, I just like, are there swim teams in Indianapolis? And I'm just curious.
There are, but I was not involved. We left Indy when I was quite young.
Okay.
So we moved around quite a bit.
All right. So you mentioned the love for scuba and diving. When you're in the pool, is it natural for you? Are you one of those guys who like, I'm in my environment now?
I'm in my zone. This is where I want to be. Yes, absolutely.
All right. So let's talk about the some of the hobbies, right? So you mentioned you swam, you played golf. Now I know that you are working in the Central Florida area. Would you share with the audience specifically which areas you work and practice real estate?
I'm really focused on the Villages, retirement community, active adult area, but I do cover Marion County, Citrus County, Levy County, Lake, and Sumter. So I've got a big area that I cover. One of the reasons for that, I'm in Ocala, so I'm out kind of in the country a little bit. So I wanted to have a larger market area that I help, but primarily focused on the Villages at this point.
Okay, now I did my research on the Villages, and I'm telling you, you're talking about golf carts central, but then also just golfing. And the reason we got here was talking about some of those hobbies. How has your love and affection for golf tied into and helped you in the real estate world?
It's a great conversation starter. Like some of the open houses that I'll host, people will come walking in and I'm like, it's 9 o'clock. What time's your tea time? I mean, it's 80 degrees. You guys obviously are looking for a house, and a lot of people show up in a golf cart. So it's just a great conversation starter for me. I like to play. I'm not great. I'm not bad. But the Villages, it's a very active golf community. So it's a great conversation starter. I've even gotten invited by people to go play from sitting in an open house. Hey, when you're done, can you go play? I'm like, I wish I could. Today's business.
Today is business. So let's talk about the business part of it. What drew you into real estate and out of the trades, if I may ask, and if you're willing to share?
Absolutely. I sure am. I still feel young. I still act young, but my body has told me several times that you're not young anymore. So I was in the building trades, construction, handyman business, made a tough decision, I'm very pleased with the decision I made, but I shut down a handyman business to completely focus on real estate. It was too much wear and tear on my body, and I need to refocus on the real estate industry.
Okay, so you made the decision, the tough but great decision, I will
Absolutely.
say. And so when did you realize that real estate was more than just a job for you, that this was something that you do see a future in? Because if I may, we'll see people get into the industry and it's a job and it's like, okay, yes, it's okay, I do this. But when did Jeffrey E. Hill Realtor realize that this was something bigger than just a job?
Probably a year ago when I was still doing the handyman business and the real estate. Always had a love for homes and helping people kind of make their dreams and make their home their home. So that really drove me into the real estate. And then if I can, Neil, the conversation that you and I had a few months ago really opened my eyes to concentrate 100% on real estate. And that was as well from your guidance. And I greatly appreciate that.
Man, it is an honor, privilege, and a pleasure. So I know who you are. I know about the character and the mindset and the values that you have, but you seem to lead with honesty and clarity. Like those are two things. Let me be honest. Let me be clear. Why are those values so important to you in business where people are making major life decisions? Why are honesty and clarity so paramount to you, Jeffrey E. Hill?
I'm gonna go back to kind of some life lessons from my grandfather, which is one of my heroes. A man's word, a man's handshake, first impressions build relationships. So I've always been straightforward, kind of a no BS guy. I want to tell you the truth. This is what potentially can happen. And from that first impression and the way that you represent yourself to potential clients, they may not be your clients, but that honesty when you first meet somebody, I think is invaluable. And that just sets the path for success right out of the gate.
Absolutely. So I know your grandfather will be proud of the man that you are and what you're doing. So we talk about clarity. We mentioned being honest. So I want to ask you about the word trust. What does trust really mean to you, both personally and professionally?
Personally, if I put trust in you from being in the business for so long, I'm just going to say it the way that I would say it. Do not screw me over, because I trusted you and I've been burnt in the past. So putting that trust in you or putting that trust in me, I'm going to follow through. And I think that that's the way that me as a person, that's the way that I want people to value me and see me as a trustworthy, honest person.
Okay, so that leads us into one of your catchphrases, your slogans, just Jeff, just results. Well, first, who is Just Jeff? Is this just a down to earth guy? Because we mentioned Jeffrey E. Hill, the professional moniker, the professional name that you're running your real estate business through, right? So Jeffrey E. Hill, we're branding that, make sure people know that Jeffrey E. Hill is not Jeff Hill, is not Jeff C. Whoever, all those other Jeff Hills, they don't exist. Jeffrey E. Hill, Realtor. Who is Just Jeff, or what is Just Jeff, Just Results?
Just Jeff, Just Results is my tagline, but I'm just Jeff. I'm your average guy. I'm your golf buddy. I'm your realtor. I'm your friend. I'm a regular person, but I also bring results within the real estate market. So whether that's buying, selling, investing, I'm results driven. And that's where the tagline came from. Just Jeff, just results. Just your average guy, but I'm bringing results in real estate.
Now, you say just your average guy, but from someone who is in close proximity to you, you are not having average results.
No,
So, hey, so we're not going to get in Jeff's pockets, ladies and gentlemen, but just know that Jeffrey E. Hill is a man that you want to know. And I said this from one of those first conversations that we had, that you are going to be on the rise rapidly, and we are seeing that. And so part of that comes from your work ethic, sir, where you are just not afraid. So you're working smart, but you are also not afraid of working hard. Does that come from your history in the trades? Does that come from growing up? Does that come from your grandfather? Where does your willingness to just put the work in, rain, snow, sun, heat, where does that come from, Jeff?
It comes from the way that I was raised. My dad has always been a hard worker. He was a executive level banker. Work came first, and then he was also a family man as well, but work came first. It was always the work ethic that was instilled by my father, my grandfather. Work hard, do good, and good things will happen to you. And that's really, really where I guess my drive and focus came from. And then I've worked hard my entire life. I was in the ATM industry for many years.
Wait. The automatic teller machine industry?
Yes.
Doing what?
I was actually a field service technician. So I was installing back in the 90s, I was installing ATM machines all over Chicagoland. So bringing them live, servicing them, meeting the armored cars on site for tech meets, and sometimes some places we had to have armed guards while we were working on ATM machines.
Now, hold on, Jeff. I want to know, did you ever go to where an ATM was supposed to be and it was no longer there? Or is that just the movies?
No, that's absolutely true. It's
Be
it's
like, hey,
absolutely true.
I had a service call for an ATM. We know it went offline, but now I see why it went offline. It is no longer here.
Yes. Or I got a long time ago, I got a communication failure call. So communication failure, the modem's not responding, the router's not working. I get on site, walking in.
Hold on. Wait, Jeff. So that happens. You're like, oh, you running through your head. I know what the few fixes are for this.
Absolutely. I'm like, oh, just reboot the modem when I get to site. Yeah, no, I get to site and there's probably 15 bullet holes in the screen. There's a bullet hole in the front window. And I'm like, yeah, well, we're going to need a new fascia. This ATM's not coming back online today.
You're like, okay, this is not it. All right, this is outside of my normal workday. So Jeff, you mentioned about willingness to work hard, and we know that some great things have happened just because you've been present. I want to ask you, in your real estate journey, since you've been in the industry, what has been your biggest eye opener? What has been maybe the biggest lesson that you've learned from doing this, and what I would say doing it at a high level in a relatively short amount of time?
I think one of the biggest lessons, and I can go off on another avenue on some of the other lessons that I've learned. I think your consistency, that's huge. Follow up, because there's a lot of us out there. So if you don't follow up and communicate, you're gonna lose that deal. They're gonna move on to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Be prepared. I think that's it.
What does that mean to Jeffrey E. Hill Realtor? Be prepared. What does that look like?
Let's take a professional opinion of value for example, also known as a CMA.
Ladies and gentlemen, I do want to go on the record. Jeffrey E. Hill speaks in elevated terms. So when he says professional opinion of value, you might hear it as a CMA. Jeff has an elevated level of service. That's why he's saying professional opinion of value. I just got to give you the plug and the respect you deserve, Jeff. Go ahead, brother.
Thank you. So when I prepare for a professional opinion of value, I've done some Zoom meetings as well. I want to review that and make sure that everything is laid out. So when the questions start coming back, you're not fumbling through paperwork or looking through on your screen, trying to fumble through several different documents that you need to refer to, that you're ready to answer those questions professionally and not look like that you're scrambling to get that done.
Great stuff. Now, I know that you mentioned earlier that you're working in a 55 plus community senior active adult area. And so part of what you've done is you've created this golden move selling system, right? So it really is tailored to specific individuals to help them understand. And so when I've had conversations with you, you serve a very unique niche. So it's not just 55 plus. You've honed in to where 65 plus, and you really are thinking about their needs, their desires, their challenges throughout the transaction. So what is it that makes, I'm just talking about the villages, ladies and gentlemen. Mm-hmm. What is it that makes the villages so unique, and why are you excited about serving that market?
The very interesting thing about the villages in general is most of the clients that you are working with in the villages are executive level. They're highly educated. They've been very successful in business throughout their life. So the way that you present yourself and the way that you have those conversations, you need to communicate with them on that professional level, like you're working with an E-level client, which I'm an E-level realtor as well. But you really need to focus on that and what they're looking for. They're going to probably know contracts pretty well, depending on what they did as an executive. They're going to want a detailed scope or timeline, probably bulleted, pointed out on what you're doing and how you're presenting it to them. They're not just going to want, hey, well, I looked at your house. Yeah, it's probably going to sell for, well, I don't know, 430. You better have the details to back that conversation.
And that goes back to the preparation that you mentioned in your previous response.
Yes.
So I know that we mentioned you enjoy golf, scuba diving, family time, and the outdoors, right? What is it about those activities that reinvigorate you, that excite you, that reset you? What is it about family time, just being outside for Jeff?
That's a great question. Nature, sunlight, fresh air for me is a battery reset. Golfing, I mean, 5 hours on the golf course. Well, depending on who you get stuck behind, that could be 6. It's a time for me to mentally reset so that I'm ready to be just a better realtor. Family's highly important. My wife, my pet pig, my mom and dad, my son. It just, you got to have that slight separation that puts you in a different mental state, I think. Not a mental state, but yeah, a mental state to realign and refocus. Diving is huge for me for that as well, because it's just.
So let me ask you, how much time do you get to spend diving, Jeff?
Not enough, Neil. Not enough. When I do diving, for folks that don't dive, diving's very interesting, very unique. So when you're underwater, there's no noise but the air bubbles that you're breathing out. So you can hear the crackling of the water, you can hear the air bubbles. So you really are focusing on your breathing. It's a good mind reset for me.
Hold on. So I disagree, because when I get in the water, you talking about you can't hear anything but the air bubbles. But if I go in the underwater in a swimming pool, do you know what I hear? Dun 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 dun. So all of this, and you've invited me, and we have friends who have invited you. All have invited me out. Not gonna happen, sir. You did mention Misty.
I'll watch your back. I got a spear gun.
Man, listen. I've seen all the worst movies that you can watch. And so the Meg 2, nah. And no knock against you, Jeff, but you are not Jason Statham, right? And
No,
if the spear gun did nothing when look at you, sir. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I apologize. This is what happens when two friends get together on camera. And luckily, you all don't see us when we don't have the camera running. You mentioned Misty. I have to ask you about Misty. How did you end up with a pet pig, sir?
I'm glad you asked that. So I have allergies. I'm allergic to different animals. Pigs actually have hair and they don't produce dander like other animals. So I've always been an animal lover, even with the allergies. And my wife as well is an animal lover. And so we decided we're going to go out to a farm and look around. And they're no longer there, but there was a farm area just outside of Sanford. And we went and got Misty. And when I got her, Neil, she fit in the palm of my hand. She was 4 weeks old, and she's been a very, very interesting. They're very smart, but that's how we ended up with Misty.
Okay, so what has Misty taught you?
Misty has taught me that when she wants to be left alone, you leave her alone. So they're very emotional animals. They like to be around you. They're like a dog, but they also, when they want to be left alone, they want to be left alone. They just want to lay down, and she'll let you know. She'll grunt or squeal and let you know that she doesn't want to be messed with.
Man. Okay. Now, do we walk Misty? How does this work, right? Do we have a collar, or do we just let her go out and do her deal?
She's got a fenced-in backyard, so she gets to go out in her yard, but she will go on a leash when we go camping. We'll put her on a leash, and she'll go camping with us as well.
Okay, so you mentioned camping, so you really are an outdoors guy. So it's not just outside in the sunlight. It's let me get out here with the bugs and all of the reptiles and all of God's creatures. That's Jeffrey E. Hill all day.
Absolutely, 100%.
I should have known when you said you're getting the water with Jaws, right? That should have told me everything I needed to know. I do want to pivot back to real estate for a moment because I mentioned that you're operating at a very high level, and I don't want our audience to miss this here on the Beyond the Velvet Rope podcast. What do you believe clients need more of from real estate professionals right now? In this time, we're just in a funky time right now. When you look at the industry, when you think about your buyers, your sellers, your investors, what do you think they need more of from the professionals who are in the industry?
I think they need somebody that's not going to misdirect them on where the market's at price wise. Honestly, I think that there's still some people that are stuck in the 2020, 2022 market with some overpricing. I think they just need to be guided properly when it comes to pricing. Also, when it comes to like market analysis in general, the professional opinion and value, those comps and stuff, really you need to drill that down properly and provide them the right guidance, because everybody know I use it. AI is in the marketplace. Mm-hmm. Well, it's not always accurate. We know that. We've looked at it. You still need a professional that looks at everything that's out there and drills it down properly for you to make an educated decision when it comes to listing your house, when it comes to buying a home. You can't just go off of AI and Zillow. I mean, you really need to have that professional opinion.
Good stuff. So I want to know, if a client were describing you to a friend after they've worked with you, what would you hope they say?
I would hope that they would say that that was the best experience that they've ever had buying or selling a home. And Jeff is a no BS guy. He's going to be responsive. I just got that phone call yesterday from a client, which was wonderful.
Come on, hey, there's nothing like that little bit of ego boost, and not in a bad way. You're like, man, I did what I said I would do.
Absolutely. So I think I would hope that that's the response, and I think that is what they would refer as he got me the best price. He was honest and responsive.
So let me ask you, do you remember that all of the time? Do you remember how good you are all of the time and the service that you provide to your clients and customers?
No, I don't. It's hard to give yourself that pat on the back, because the way that I'm driven, and I know that you see that as well, is that I've got the blinders on and I'm just thoroughly focused on what I need to do. So I don't take the time to pat myself on the back or take that compliment that I probably need to sometimes.
And that's why you have me in your life. I'm a cheerleader. I'm going to say, Jeff, let's slow down. Let's have a little dance break, a little dance party real quick, and then get back to work. Now, we're going to get ready to close this episode. But before we do, I must ask you, what has success taught you, Jeffrey E. Hill?
You need the right coach in your dive team that's there helping you. And you and I are friends, but also I cannot tell you enough from the coaching side of what that you have taught me and the conversations that we have. The success wouldn't be here without you.
Come on, man. You trying to make me have a pool in my office in here, get me all teared up, brother. Thank you so much. And so here's something that I want to tell you, and we have the conversations and we talk about where we were and where we are and where we're going. And so I'm so excited, right? And so it's one thing to coach, and this is something that we met a few years ago, and I told you something then, and I'm like, hey, here's my information. Reach out, call me. So every year I'm probably in front of 50 to 60,000 realtors, and I might get 10 to 12 phone calls a year. And so when I got your phone call, you're like, hey, do you remember? I'm like, of course I remember you. What's going on? How are you doing? And it all goes back to the humility, right? The asking questions. Say, listen, man, I have some questions. I need some help. But I want to say what has separated you and a couple of others now that we are family, right? And so the beauty is we all get to know each other and realize that the great ones really do hang together, is that you just execute and implement so fast, right? Even without knowing how to do it perfectly, even without knowing fully if it's going to work. When you talk about blind faith, sir, you're like, hey, I'll give it a shot. And so I just want to say thank you for being a good friend, good student, good client. Man, I'm excited about what's ahead. So let me ask you, Jeffrey E. Hill, what most excites you about the next chapter for you, whatever that next chapter is?
I was thinking about something yesterday, and it was, I don't know if it was an email or somebody sent something and around greatest accomplishment. So I was thinking about that for a while. There are a lot of things that I think that I've accomplished in my life, but honestly, I don't think I've accomplished that yet. So with real estate, my greatest accomplishment is still yet to come. And with the focus and the consistency and the way that things are being aligned, that's yet to come.
Amen. So I know I can't wait. So I want to say thank you for being on this episode of Beyond the Velvet Rope. Anything you want to share before we close, sir?
Well, yes, a couple of things. Like I said earlier, sorry for the pause there, but from the heart, what we're doing, how I'm focused, and the way that the real estate is direction I'm going is invaluable with what you've helped me put in place, and I greatly appreciate that, and I thank you for the time to just have a conversation about who I am as a person, and appreciate the time, Neil. Thank you.
Man, it is an absolute honor, privilege, and a pleasure. But we are not done yet, because what I did not tell you, Jeffrey E. Hill, is that we've got some rapid fire fun questions. Are you ready for these, sir?
Yes, sir. I'm ready.
Okay, now, my legal department, who does not really exist, told me to tell you that you are not obligated to answer any of these questions. Do you got it?
Got it.
Okay, here we go. Favorite food?
Mexican.
Favorite color?
Probably blue.
Why?
Reminds me of the ocean.
That's what if there was any other color besides blue, Jeff, we were going to have a problem, sir. I was going to say, man, you sat here and talked about the blue sky, the blue water, and you don't. Like, if you would have said, like, fuchsia, I'm like, man, what's wrong with this guy? Like, man, how much fuchsia do you have in your closet? Okay, Superman or Batman?
Batman.
Why?
Just since I was a kid, I got to meet Batman and Robin when I was a little kid. From the original Batman and Robin.
Are you serious?
Yes. And I spilled a Coke on Robin's shirt.
Hold on now. When you say on his shirt, it's not the costume uniform, not the red. Yeah. How did you spill a Coke?
He was there's a picture of me from when I was a kid, like a little kid. He was holding me, and I guess I had a Coke in my hand.
And you just pouring it out on him. He's like, hey, I don't care what kind of superhero you are. Come on.
I made Robin mad. That's why I'm a Batman.
So you're talking about the Batman, not the black suit Batman. You're talking about like the gray and the blue and the yellow.
Yeah, old school, man.
Old school Batman.
Those gray hairs are showing, Neil.
Okay, so then I can ask you this next question, because sometimes I'm like, I don't know if I can ask this question depending on the guest, because if I say this, they're like, well, who? Mickey Mouse or Bugs Bunny?
Oh boy, that wascally rabbit.
So you even went with the Elmer Fudd type deal. So, okay, so it's got to be Bugs Bunny. Sometimes I ask, and you can tell, like, when the audience is younger or the guest is younger, they're like, Bugs Bunny, which one is that? And I'm like, ooh, what? You hurt my heart. Oh, you hurt my heart. So if you're talking Elmer Fudd, then of course you're a Yosemite Sam type guy, all of the classics. All right, Jeff, a nickname. Now, this is one you really don't have to answer. A nickname that only your family calls you.
I don't really have one, honestly.
No nickname?
No, I know if I get yelled at and somebody says Jeffrey E. Hill, I'm in trouble.
And
There's no nick.
And so now we've made Jeffrey E. Hill. He's like, man, listen, I come to attention. That's when I'm buttoned up. And so that's why Jeffrey E. Hill Realtor is a good thing. Ladies and gentlemen, use Jeffrey E. Hill Realtor. Make sure you employ his services so that we can overcome the childhood trauma for being yelled at as a kid. So we're going to help him heal. So when we say Jeffrey E. Hill, then he's like, yes. They're like, no, relax. You're not in trouble. We just need you to help us buy, sell, or invest. What is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
The best piece of advice I've ever received, I think, and this still instill this today: first impressions are lasting ones, and a man's handshake.
Good stuff. If you had to talk to 10-year-old Jeff, what would you tell him today?
First off, I think I would say be a kid. First and foremost, enjoy your childhood, because adulthood's going to come up on you quick.
Hey, it comes fast and furious, doesn't it?
Yes, sir, it does. But then second of all, I think I would say that you, as you grow up, align yourself around the people that you want to be like. So if you want to be a millionaire or you want to be successful, surround yourself by those successful people and be true to yourself. I mean, just do good in school and be a good person. Being a good person is going to be invaluable. Just be an honest, good human being.
At the end of the day, being a good person still matters, right? I think we forget with everything going on and what we can, the personas we could put on, just be a good person. It makes a difference. Doors open. All right, last question for you, Jeff. Mr. Jeffrey E. Hill, what is one talent or skill that you do not have that you wish you did?
You know, probably I wish I was a better basketball player, because I'm 6'3", and people give me a hard time because I'm not. They're like, oh, you play basketball. I'm like, no, not really. I'm not the greatest b-ball player.
So tall guy problems, right? So he's out here fighting the stereotypes. Like 6'3", man, you must have been a baller. And you're like, huh. And you're like, yeah, let's change the topic, right? So be like, no, I'm a swimmer.
Yes.
Touch the wall a little bit faster than everyone else. Jeffrey E. Hill, man, today has been a pleasure connecting with you professionally, but also personally on this level. I want to thank you. I know our audience is going to really benefit from the conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, be sure to check out the show notes or the description where all of Jeffrey E. Hill's contact info will be there. If you need real estate service and you're in Central Florida, especially the Villages, or if you need real estate service from anywhere in the world, connect with Jeff. He has a strong network. He can get you connected with a professional wherever you are looking to do business, whether that's in Texas, Indiana, Kuala Lumpur, wherever it is. Jeff is the connected guy. He'll get you taken care of. Jeff, thank you so much. I love you, sir. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to leave you as I always do. And that's that we love you. God loves you. There's nothing you can do about it. And until the next time we see you or you see us, don't be average, be world renowned. Peace.